Hello everyone. I want to put this in here. My name is Mana, and today I'm going to talk about marketing submission recommendations from FDA for a PCCP predetermined change control plan for AI-enabled device software functions. So why we have to write predetermined change control plans? And why it's an important. Sorry. So AI-enabled medical devices, they evolve continuously. And regulatory flexibility is needed to allow that these updates, should I continue? I'm sorry. Without requiring a new marketing submission each time for each change. So PCCP is actually a strategic regulatory strategy within the marketing submission that enables manufacturers for medical devices as softwares that they are enabled by AI, artificial intelligence, that they ensure that this device is safe and effective, and the manufacturer doesn't need to submit additional submissions, marketing submissions each time for each change to FDA. So if I want to just introduce you very briefly what happened and what was the timeline, is that in 2019, FDA introduces this PCCP AI/ML discussion paper. And there was like some validations and software as medical device, specifically for radiology medical devices. But then in 2020, FDA hosted public workshops. In 2021, the FDA released officially an action plan. And in 2022, Fedora gave this law grant to FDA, and it grants this authority to FDA to approve PCCPs. Sorry. And then in 2023, FDA defines PCCP components that I'm going to talk about in future slides, and what is the specific modifications, what are protocols or impacts. And then in 2024, very recently in December, FDA finally issued the final guidance document for this PCCP. So if I want to show you that what it specifically is that PCCP can be under 510K, de novo, and PMA. And the thing that is these modifications should be reviewed under marketing authorization by FDA. But FDA encourages that via Q submission, manufacturers seek FDA's suggestion about these PCCP modifications pre-submission. And then I actually try to show you one figure from the guidance itself, that it says that we have to find that this modification is it big enough that is it big enough that the manufacturer should market another marketing submission, or is it that much small, and is it under criteria of PCCP that they can document it in accordance with quality systems and there is no need for an additional marketing submission? And then here, we all know about these informants of FDA. From low to high, that when manufacturers do not comply with QSR, we know that it's also called 21 CFR Part 820, this we always have to comply with these regulations. If they do not comply with them, then there are some enforcements from FDA, such as legal actions, such seizures, injunctions, and regulatory informants, or prohibited distribution, or misbranding or adulteration under FDA Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act sections, specific sections. About key components of PCCP. It's very important because first we have to describe what is this modification, and is it? We have to clearly outline that is it this change in software or in algorithm, is it under the PCCP or not? We have to define the scope of that change, and we have to also define boundaries to prevent unintended modifications. Then the second component of PCCP is modification protocol. The process manufacturers must follow when making a modification and how they have to make it. They have to always test, and they have to always mention a specific validation criteria. For example, we are going to talk about it in future slides, real-world performance testings. Or what are these data sources for verification? For example, they are clinical trials or real-world evidence. And also, the most important thing is that we have to always make sure the safety and effectiveness of our medical device as software. And then the last part is impact assessment, which is risk-benefit evaluation of implementing this PCCP. And also, it outlines risk mitigation strategies for maintaining device performance and patient safety. So, before actually I go deep into the specific components of PCCP, first I have to tell you what are the types of modifications. These modifications can be automated or manual. Automated means that the AI software itself will update itself without any human intervention. But when it's manual, then human will input these changes and these modifications. Sometimes it's hybrid of both of them. Human has to check it and has to review these changes that AI will do. And about global vs local adoptions is that when it's global, it's applied uniformly across all devices. When it's local, it means that it's customized for a specific population. And then we can also try to classify these modifications based on updates, which means that it can be, for example, locked models or continuous learning models, which means that they will frequently update themselves, or we have to update them. Then some other, if I want to continue, some other key considerations first for these modifications is that manufacturers should clearly define guidelines for automatic modifications, and also they have to encourage to discuss these automated modifications with FDA through, I mentioned before, Q submission program. And also we should not cover modifications for drugs and biologics. We know we are talking about medical devices here and their softwares. And also, one very important thing is that PCCP never can not alter the indication. The indication of that medical device is always there. We just want to do some minor modifications. For example, in labeling, we have to always state that there is a PCCP there. And we have to inform users that these are the expected modifications. I'm actually going to show you in a real case study how we have to implement these modifications and these changes. So here I'm going to show you, those were considerations. Now I'm going to show you the types of these modifications. It can be modification in performance, we know. For example, retraining on a new data, or for example, enhancing the clinical accuracy and analytical accuracy. It can be input and compatibility. For example, we will give our algorithm new data sources, or for example, there are some compatibility updates between software and hardware, or there are some limited modifications. For example, we want to give our device new patient factors. Mm-hmm. And also there are use and performance modifications. For example, we want to retrain AR for a specific population of patients. Now I want to talk about the second component of my PCCP plan, that it can be a modification protocol. So I showed you the types of modification. Now, how we can implement that. So there are some data management practices. This is actually for everyone to read through. For example, we have to ensure that these modifications are based on representative data, and they are best practices for data collection, storage, processing. Also, we have to do returning practices, define how our AI model will be updated over time. And then there are also, of course, performance evaluations that meets these predefined performance criteria, and we prevent unapproved modifications because, as you remember, we set some boundaries for unintended changes. And also, we have to update our procedure, and also we have to have, of course, transparency in our practices. Then I'm going to just briefly show you guidance about real-world data and how it is connected with PCCP. Is that we know that this real-world data always supports risk management and continuous safety monitoring. And for example, EHRs or registries that we can find this real-world data. There is a guidance in December 2023 for RWD that can support AI software updates and also post-monitoring safety monitoring. Post-marketing safety monitoring. And why this is important for PCCP, why I'm talking about it here, because it will enable AI improvement without regulatory delays when it works with PCCP together. And also, we are sure that these updates reflect real-world patients, not just something that we are guessing or supposing. And also, we ensure that AI model updates, they have a strong validation and also risk mitigation strategies. The last part of our PCCP, impact assessment. The purpose is to evaluate, of course, the benefit and risk, and also we have to find the effects of these modifications in a PCCP. Then we have to, so when we say assessment, we have to compare before and after the change, the modification, what were the risks, and also always benefit should overweigh the risk. And we have to, actually, we have to show how one change impacts another, which we say interplay of modifications, and cumulative assessments of what is the overall performance of this device. And also, after we are ensured that, okay, there is a safety and effectiveness standard in here, then we are sure that we are complied with regulatory strategies. And just at the last, I want to show you one case study that I worked in my tracks program. It was actually Dexcom's new algorithm, which is actually now in market, Dexpasal algorithm version 3. That it uses, we use actually PCCP to implement some software's modifications. I want to show you, just like in real world, what are these modifications, for example, for a continuous glucose monitoring medical device. For example, we can change the type of insulin, or we can enhance the glucose filtering to filter the noises, biological noises. Or, for example, we can integrate this continuous glucose monitoring device with pumps that will pump the insulin out. And also, there were always some risk mitigation strategies that we validated the clinical and non-clinical endpoints for that. Also, there are always challenges, ensuring transparency, data validation, managing these changes, that they do not go out of the boundaries. So if I want to wrap up a summary of actually what I'm going to talk about, I tried to show you in this presentation, is that PCCPs are critical for AI-driven modifications. They provide a structured process to make sure that these updates are safe, they are effective, and also implementation challenges has to always be addressed. How? By risk management and by making sure that there is always transparency in our documentation. There are my references, and thank you so much.